Good morning. Sun is up. It's about 8 o'clock a.m. Max is out here. He just did his business, and I'm gonna do a real quick little show on these panels. So this is gonna be an update because we have made changes, and I didn't realize that I didn't really update any of these. So these panels are new. Those 6 larger ones. Those 12 smaller ones are the ones that we had for quite a while. All right, so the bigger ones are a 445 watt, and the smaller ones are 370 watt. And they're each strung up in 2 separate arrays. So the 440 is coming in on PV1. And the 370s are coming in on PV2. And I'll show you what I've done on the inside, because in previous videos, if you look at any of the ones talking about solar, we had 2 separate systems. One of them was set up as our primary, the other one was set up as our backup. The smaller system, which was the backup secondary system, the problem was that our inverter, it took a dump, no longer putting out any of the power that we needed, so I ended up taking that apart, and I integrated the components. Solar panels are actually stacked in the cabin right now, and let me show you what I have with this inverter. There is the inverter. I opened it up to see if I could find a blown fuse or something, and I found nothing obvious. Oh well, so it's just sitting there right now. But let me show you what the inside setup is done now that we kind of changed over quite a bit of our system, and you can see kind of what we got going on now. It's not a major difference. It's the same components we had before, just a little different connectivity. So that is the inverter charge controller. It is still the same one that we've had from the get-go. It's a 10 kilowatt charge controller inverter. This is the batteries. Those are 48 volts batteries. These are 24 volt batteries, but we got these connected together to boost them up to 48 volts, and then connected them here, so it's like having 3 of these, because those 2 have the same capacity together that these individually have. So we put those into a single system instead of originally those 2 were a part of the smaller system. And then over here, this is the input from the main power that comes into this switch. You can see right now that switch is off. If I switch it up, that's power from the grid. If I switch it down, that would be connecting me to my generator. And then the output from that goes into here as utility. And you saw what it looked like out there. So right now you see AC input is 0 volts. So I'll show you real quick. If I flip this, see the little tower came on. Now we got 240 coming from utility, but I don't want that, so I'm going to keep that off. All right, but we're getting solar panel power coming into the inverter, going to the house out this way, going to the batteries down this way. So we're charging batteries and using solar power. And if we go through, that's still AC, there's no input. All right, PV, that's photovoltaic, that's our solar power. We're getting right around 66, 68 volts. It's bouncing up and down a little bit. We're getting 22 amps, 1.19 kilowatts. However, in the wintertime, this set disconnects some of those panels. So I'm going to re-engage that one. And that 1.3 is increasing up to not a ton extra, but a little bit extra, so it's still regulating it to about 1.7. Sometimes if it's a real sunny day, which the sun's not fully up yet, it's still early. When it's cold, the panels are much more effective. They work better in the cold. So if I'm getting too much power from the panels, this thing will shut itself off because it's getting an excess of input from the solar. So that's why I have that to where if I push that little red button down there, it cuts off half of the panels. One of the arrays is disconnected. And that allows it to continue functioning in a normal way without overloading the solar input. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how we have it set up now. We have power from the utility that works most of the time. Look at all them gray hairs, holy cow. And I can use the utility power when we want it. I just flip that switch up. And we use solar most of the time still as our primary. And in a really bad scenario, if we had, bad storm coming through that's lasted multiple days with clouds and we're not getting solar, and say it was an ice storm or a really heavy wind storm and it knocked out normal power, crank up the generator, and then that's what charges our batteries. And normally we run the battery, or we run the generator to charge the batteries about 4 hours, 5 hours if it's completely dead batteries, all the way almost on empty. And then that charges us up to where we have enough power in the batteries to last us about 3 days. So we don't have to run the generator continuously. We can just run the generator for a few hours, charge the batteries, and then we have the power to keep going for multiple days after that. So yes, we are connected to the grid as a backup. We have a generator as a backup to the backup, and we have our solar panels as our primary power source. In winter, we are using normal power for a good part, not majority, but for a good part of it. And that's usually between early December, late November, up until about now, when the days are real short up here where we are. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that answers the questions about what we're getting as far as what we're doing with our solar and how it's all working. Again, my plan is never one answer, and I'm not an anti anything. I use what works. I try to use it to my advantage, and I try to piece things together so that I always have a backup plan and potentially a backup to the backup, because anything can happen and you just got to try to be prepared for all scenarios. I believe in using what you have available to your advantage. I'm not going to disregard options if it can be useful. Sounds like Mrs. Howell is having problems with the dogs being unruly. I'm gonna go see what's going on with that, and we'll check in with you guys later. Thanks for watching.